In your car, at work, or live at KissWTLZ.com. We're Kiss 107.1.
You're gonna change the title here.
What's that?
You're gonna change the title here, so I'll do that.
Go ahead and change it. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kareem, and you've tuned into another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I'm so glad to have you with us here today. I hope that you guys have had a wonderful day so far, and that you're able to tune into this conversation. For those of you who are watching us on our social media stream, I would love for you guys to like, tag, and share this conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about home ownership. We have with us Tim Holden, Bishop Tim Holden, who is going to be hosting a home ownership workshop on tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that and more as we get into today's conversation. So please, let's build out this social media stream. Let's get our friends, family, and loved ones involved with this conversation as we begin to move forward. I see you guys coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Those who are listening to us on the radio, we want to say good evening to you all. And hopefully you are safely driving if you're in your car, or if you're listening to us on our website. We certainly thank you for continually listening in. We were looking at the numbers, and things have been going really well for our station in terms of our programming. So we want to thank you for your continued listenership as we endeavor to bring you quality program to this particular community. Amen. So I want to get right into the things I have with I do know that we are excited about the opportunity and what this means for Black America. She will be the first African-American woman to be appointed to the Supreme Court justice. I think in like 100 and some picks, 160, 130 some picks. And so it's really quite interesting. I see the thumbs up. Thank you guys for the thumbs up. Yay, yay, yay. I will take the hit on this one. This was totally myself and not the Rob father. For those of you out there, Rob, I appreciate you. He's over there scrambling, trying to take care of my issues on today. But this is a great opportunity for Black women. I mean, the sisters are doing it for themselves. We see with our vice president nomination. And what I love about this is that this was a promise, a campaign promise that President Biden made that he was going to do. And there's a lot of people saying, well, you can't choose because she's a Black woman. And isn't that affirmative act, reverse discrimination? You know, all the crazy usual stuff that they're out there saying when we understand that there's a lack of equity and equality in the whole place. And the only way you can do some changing is that you've got to make some space at the table. So we're glad that this sister is coming in. She hails from the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, what's funny about this is that there's been a lot of kickback from the Republicans in terms of her being able to be, you know, confirmed as this nomination. But she comes from the same place that they fought so hard for Justice Kavanaugh, who came in with the tainted reputation, partying and drugging and all of that other stuff. But we see that she is coming in the same way, and she has some qualifications that others did not. That she was once a member of the Public Defender's Office, which gives some new insight. We understand those of us who are here in the community, absolutely Tammy King, she is a great choice. Those of us who are from the community, we know we all need to connect in the Public Defender's Office because there is a difference in the way that they see things than any of the other justices. And she's the first one to have that experience that she's bringing to the table. And I'm excited for this opportunity. I really hope that this is something that is done bipartisan, but we can't get Republicans and Democrats to agree on the color of the sky at this moment. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about, Rob, I have been waiting to get in here to have this conversation with you. You know what I'm getting ready to talk about.
Actually, I don't.
Oh my goodness. This Russia invasion of Ukraine. Being a former military guy, we got a military hawk in the studio with us on today. But Rob, I've been thinking about like, wow, I'm really interested in what Rob's opinion was regarding this invasion. It is going down, y'all. I mean, we went to bed one night, they woke up the next day, and they were being invaded, bombs over Baghdad kind of style. So this is something very different. Rob, what were your thoughts? Did you think initially that Putin was going in?
Oh yes, of course. I think he just string everybody along, and he was what he wanted to do anyway. He's been through war before. He's did what he did with Ukraine before, and it was just a matter of him just doing it anyway.
He pulled the number 45 on us, y'all. Like he said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to line the troops up, and I'm coming into Ukraine. And we sat there and watched him line it up. We saw it take place, and man did what he said he was going to do. And it is crazy to see how he was able to line these troops up and people not think that he was going to invade.
I mean, you don't. It's just like any game. You don't put anything out there, unless you plan on doing something with it. So he was going to do something with it, and we just were stringing along, even though we knew. I'm sure, the Biden administration and others knew what was going to happen too. Just a matter of see if he can calm this guy down. But past history, there's no Putin's history.
Well, I'm going to say this, and this is completely off schedule, but the guy, Terry Reid, I have great respect for him. In the middle of my show, Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen, he decided to say the Rob father be jamming Bad Boy, Carry On Kareem. Well, okay, Rob, you got some of your own fans that are listening to it. He is definitely putting down those hits with share your story. When is your show on, Rob?
Oh, that's Classic Soul Sunday with the Rob Father. And today was a special edition that I do from time to time. And we covered the music of Barry White. And so anyone who's a Barry White fan out there would call me. You will never find. No, that's Lou Rawls. Comparable people and in their own right, but Barry White is the man. The maestro of love. So I'm happy that. Thank you so much for your comments out there, audience. Terry Reid, appreciate that.
Awesome. All right, and so continue back to Russia. So this insurgency, based upon what the pundits are saying, and honestly, in this particular situation, you don't know what to believe because we have a vested interest to report that Russia is not being successful in their endeavors. Russia has a vested interest to say, hey, we're taking over Ukraine in lightning speed. And so it is believed that the fact that they want to take over the capital city, surround the city, replace the government is not going according to plan. Now, Rob, disinformation, we are, thousands of miles away. What's really going down? What is your thought or your opinion?
Well, just recently they mentioned that Putin has put his troops on alert because he may go to the nuclear option. And I don't know if we're going to go that far, but if that were to happen, all bets are off from every country that's in NATO, including the United States.
All right. So I want to ask you this question, Robin. This is something that is a little bit different. Because many folks in our community, we go to the war because we don't know what career choice that we're going to make. We've seen that happen. And we've heard the statements, that war, the military is not for black men, but you were in the military. You see what's going on. You see what's taking place. When you look at the grand scheme of things, many Americans are asking the questions because the dynamics of this things is kind of fuzzy. Why isn't the U.S. going in to Ukraine? So help us to understand. And what are your thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, it's two questions really. The first question, really the obvious part of it. You mentioned black men, and with the situation happening in Ukraine, being a country that does not celebrate racial diversity very much. We have a problem with that sort of thing. I feel for the Ukrainian people as a human being,
absolutely,
aspect of it. But as a black man, I can't really support their agenda of not, being fair with Africans and other people there who are not of non-white color.
We didn't saw a lot of black. I was like, it's black people. We's everywhere, y'all.
Right, but then the way they're trying to, the immigrants whatnot trying to get out of there, they're going by women, children, white men, and Ukrainians first, and everyone else is on the side there. And I just can't side with that. But to answer your question about the military aspect of it, a lot of people join the military not because they can't find a job. They merely had a rough upbringing. They want to continue the discipline that they got at home. In my case, I had just continued discipline at home. I enjoyed what I was doing there, and I found the military attractive. As a matter of fact, I chose the service I wanted to be in. And I figured, well, if we ever had to go back to conscription again or the draft, I wanted to make sure that I was already involved and volunteered myself and be, put in someplace I didn't want to be.
So Robert's like, listen, don't make it seem like we just didn't have any other option. We wanted to be all we can be, so I bet all I can bet.
And I had a lot of role models, Jackie James is one I mentioned earlier.
Absolutely.
And of course, Colin Powell and whatnot. There's a lot of military black men who came before me, who I looked up to and whose history I knew and had learned in school. I said, I can do that sort of thing, move on from that.
And I think that's powerful. One of the things that I want to make sure that we talk about here as well as it relates to this military piece, so that we have an understanding of what's taking place. The United States has a very interesting position and has a delicate balance between what needs to take place. So the reason we're not going in there, somebody said he needs to go in there like President Obama. I think Tammy King has said President Biden should take a page out of our favorite president, President Obama. 1, 2, 3, terrorists done. Well, this is a little bit different. One, because first of all, the United States just came out of a 2-decade-long, 20-year war. There is no appetite for war. There is a need to be aware of what's taking place at home. We are in the midst of still dealing with the pandemic that's out there, and we're going to get to what the CDC has now said according to their guidance. But there's a lot of things here that we have to take a look at.
Before anyone forgets, I'm a Gulf War veteran. The Gulf War has not been officially declared over. There are still men and women serving in the Gulf
Absolutely.
War. So that's still going on, even though we don't talk about it on the news anymore. It's still there. So until that end comes along, we still got that going.
Absolutely. And so when we look at this, we've got to understand that when the United States gets involved, that there is the opportunity and the possibility of a very fast escalation of this thing, and we would end up in another possible world war. And I'm not looking for the third world war, especially with the types of weaponry that we have at our disposal. So diplomacy is always important. But the reason we have to take a stand is because whenever there is a dictatorial individual that's out there and they're just taking over nations, we can't let that happen. And so the way that we get involved is that we are there to send troops in, and we, Ukraine is not a part of NATO. There was a fear that Putin had that eventually that they might become, and that was one of the things one of the reasons why he wanted to invade, because he wants to dissolve NATO. He doesn't think that they should have an existence. So we will ensure and send troops in to NATO allies, to countries that are surrounding, that are a part of NATO, and to ensure them. Now, if something should happen and things spill over into their borders, now you'll see a consurgency. What was the name of the Article 5, but there was a particular number of troops or a grouping of troops that were activated that have never been activated by NATO. Do you remember what that name? But it's an insurgency proof kind of thing. And so NATO has activated. This is the first time ever that this has ever happened. So we've got to be aware. Now, if y'all will go back, and sometimes we look at the map like it's flat, and we forget that the world is a sphere. And Russia's a lot closer to the United States. As a matter of fact, it's right across the strait from Alaska. And so we have to make sure, we don't want people just invading borders. So we have a responsibility to stand with our allies.
It's important to notice that a lot of the Russian people don't want what's happening right
now. Absolutely.
A lot of this is government stuff.
Absolutely.
So wars, it's not the United States that want Afghanistan or break it off. A lot of this is done by politics. And I always say this, when you get into voting and you don't want war, elect those leaders who are not going to constantly push war.
Absolutely.
That's why Dick Cheney was so much a controversy, because of his business connections to that sort of thing that promoted the war and built the war machine.
Well, it's interesting, Rob, that we're talking about Ukraine again, and we know that this was all of the news, in the last presidency, Russia, Ukraine, all of this stuff. So now we are here and we're seeing this. But what I'll tell you is I have been watching this, and to see the president of their nation stand his ground in his capital. We would be whisking our president away to protect him and all that other stuff. But he said, hey, I don't need a ride. President Biden was like, yo, we want to evacuate you and your family. He's like, I don't need a ride. I need some weapons. And I was like, man, this president is the man. I respect the way that he is doing what he is doing. And it is so impressive to see Ukraine. Now, I'm wondering, those of you who are out there, should the United States be invaded? I mean, Canada, it would never happen. Should people parachute out of the sky and start attacking America, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because everybody in the United States has weapons. This is not Ukraine, but are you fighting for the red, white, and the blue, for the stars and the stripes? That's an interesting question. I would love to know what you guys are thinking, because they put women and children on vans and trains. It was the funniest thing, y'all. Now I know it was funny to me, because I saw what I believe to be some probably Africans or some black folk. I saw black folk, whatever nationality they were putting women and children on the trains, and the Ukrainians the men were going back to fight, when Johnny comes marching in again. And them brothers and sisters was like, look, we getting on this train right here. We looking for a seat. They like, this is not our war to fight. And they were like, we getting out, we out. But we're praying. Our hearts and prayers and are going with this. We see the protests and the insurgency of the Ukraine is holding up. And I never knew how big or how populous Ukraine was. So we're seeing this. This is happening in real life. And so our prayers are with them. Next, I want to go over to the hate crimes. I want to talk real quick, and we're going to get into the discussion, because I do have my guest, and I see that he is in my green room. The hate crimes, the trial against Ahmaud Arbery's murder. We're talking about the McMichaels and William Roddy Bryant. Whenever I hear William Roddy Bryant, I just think of a wrestler. But they were found guilty of hate crimes. This is the first time that we have had, hate crimes come before on a federal level. And they were convicted and found guilty. And, this brings to question, and my people that are out there that are out there listening to us in the social stream, I want you to share with me, what are your thoughts? We saw these hate crime statutes come up, and they were like, we're not racist, as we often hear. But man, if I could take a page out of Kwame Kilpatrick's playbook, like, please, y'all watch the text messages, because they come back and bite you in the behind every single time. They pulled up their text messaging, and they were making statements to the fact that they had been chasing and looking at who's been coming through, and they were mad, and they were using the N-word to refer to Ahmad because they had seen him come through that way. They were looking at as well their text messages. One of the text messages said, they went to Cracker Barrel and there were so many N-words up in there that they needed to change the name from Cracker Barrel to N Bucket. I'm like, it's just crazy. But the conversation, and you let me know if the conversation that you have casually with people is an indication of where you truly are. And so they were found guilty because everything that they said was racist. The character and how they were treating other situations were racist. The fact that they chased that man down, cornered him as he was out for a leisurely jog, was done so because he was black. And that was the reason, and that was the principal thing that they needed to prove as it related to this. My man Terry, this is my problem. We're helping another country, Ukraine, but our gas prices are soaring. Why should it affect us when we have years and years of surplus of oil? I don't get it. Well, Terry, I'm going to tell you right now, that question that you're asking is a question that many of that has always come up in these particular situations. Now, I'll tell you what will happen, because you're bringing up, there's a conversation on something called fracking. And fracking is really us going in, and at any point, we really could go in, tap into our natural gas and other oil reserves, and we would have all of the oil that we would need and be able to produce enough oil for other countries. However, the United States has had the philosophy that we have to be smart because this planet just doesn't belong to us now, but we want to preserve the planet. And so there's some places where there are natural reserves and troves of oil and natural gas, things, renewable fuels and energies that we could use to sustain ourselves. But the threat to the environment, and we've seen these things happen off the coast of Florida where it destroys the wildlife. So we have refused and put bans on tapping into those types of reserves for the benefit of our planet. And there are a lot of individuals, largely the Republican Party. What you're holding on to is a very conservative opinion. Like, why do we have to pay higher at the price? Well, we're paying higher at the price right now. What our fuel prices are higher because of this thing called inflation. And this is not going to better our situation. It's only going to throw us further into it. So we're going to see those prices rise. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit that good old $4.50. I think that you will see a release of reserves and an easing of the gas price pressures. The closer we get to November of this year, this midterm election, those prices are going to come down. They're going to save that, bring them down so that people won't be upset when they go to the voting booth over high gas prices. So that is a very good observation there, Terry. All right. So a lot to talk about. I'm going to get through this Kim Potter sentencing. Those of you who are out there, Kim Potter was the officer who was found guilty of fatally shooting Dante Wright back in 2020 in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, right outside of Minneapolis. The judge gave her 2 years sentence, Rob. Judge Regina M. Chu, this Asian American woman, gave this 49-year-old woman, who was, we know, famously for screaming taser, 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 and then shooting this young man with her rifle, her firearm, her gun, and says that she was confused. She has been in the police force longer than Dante Wright has been alive, and was a training officer.
How do you not know a block from a ball? I don't get that.
Well, I've never been at a loss for words, Rob, but I am sitting here like, how in the world does this happen? But honestly, when I started looking at this, I'm like, how often? They say about every 10 years or so, this type of accident takes place. The maximum sentence she could have received was 15 years. So it was somewhere between 6 and 15. The state attorney general, Keith Ellison, a brother, he weighed in before the sentencing was held and say, look, we go 6 to 15. I'm thinking that we, have to show officers some accountability. So I'm going to say, why don't we slide into a good 7? this judge who had the ability to make this discretion, after hearing the details, she said, hey, we're, 2 years is a long time to be away from your family. And so we're going to give her 2 years. Now, this is the thing. She may only do 16 months.
And the judge was very sympathetic. She said she didn't mean to do it or whatnot. How did she know that the defendant's mindset?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, this is the thing that got me. Now, y'all know I'm fresh off of Rob. We talked about white fragility, and we talked about the concept and the part of that book, which I think is super duper powerful, talking about white women's tears. And so, and Dante's mom happens to be a white woman, right? And so she was like, hey, but see, people don't understand this, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be very real. And it's white women, you lose your white woman privilege when you start dating black men. And I don't think that the world, sees it that way. But she said, listen, I'm a white woman, and I thought my tears would be good enough as well. But I recognize that in this moment, my tears weren't good enough. And this is just a real phenomenon. So she got, and this goes back to what I told you about those Rosenbaum, who was killed by the little gun-toting guy that shot the protesters. I can't remember his name at the moment. I'm sure you're going to come up with it, Rob. Hey, when you fight a black man's battle as a white man, you now get black man justice. And the reality of the fact is that we don't get fair treatment in the political system. So as a white woman, when you come in and you are with, black folks or a black man, and you have a child, your white woman's tears no longer have the same effect as a white woman who does not fit into that same category. That is my personal belief. Since this is Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen, and they put a disclaimer on there, I'm just being honest. And if you were to be real about that conversation, you would understand and you would say the same thing. So anyways, this woman, the judge, she felt that she was empathetic, and she felt that she was sorrowful and felt remorse. And so instead of even giving her the 6 years, which was the minimum, she went against the recommendation of the State Attorney General Keith Ellison, and gave the woman 24 months with the possibility of getting out after 16. And they're saying maybe this can be of some good, and maybe she can do something, Rob, that will make a difference in the world, and maybe she can go out. She ain't doing none of this. She's not going around, I made a mistake. It's not going to happen.
We should interject here that when Kareem mentioned white women's tears, refers to Robert DeAngelo's book.
There you go.
White privilege, because I don't want to get any favor, any kind of attitude about this whole thing. It's in the book. A white woman wrote about how
right. And this is not an academic book. She is a professional, right, but she wrote this book based upon her understanding. So thank you, Rob, because people were like, this is my thoughts, but I mean, I tend to agree with her in this particular. I don't know if I'm jumping back into the frying pan or out of into the fire, Rob.
You're a black man explaining what
absolutely
about white people, and that's just the way it is. It's in the book. I encourage everyone to go get the book, White Privilege by Robin DeAngelo.
Absolutely.
On Amazon, $15.
Yeah, and one of the chapters is White Women's Tears, and it talks about how when white women cry, black men die. And that has been a long-standing situation for us in our community for a very long time. Now, things are changing for some of us in some places, but we're going to get, hopefully we're going to do the best we can to get things going. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be back. I'm going to finish off my last thought. I'm going to talk a little bit about this First Word Radiothon, and we're going to be back with our guest today, Bishop Tim Holden, talking about home ownership.
Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
At Culver's, we believe there's a right way to prepare a North Atlantic cod fillet sandwich, the traditional way. By traditional, we mean the same way the Culver family used to prepare it in their Wisconsin supper clubs over 40 years ago. We start with the finest hand-cut cod fillets, batter each by hand, and cook crispy golden to order. No shortcuts, just hot and flaky, hand-battered goodness. So good.
It's a tradition, all right. Culver's North Atlantic cod fillet dinner or sandwich. Welcome to Delicious.
There is definitely an art to handcrafting a rich, creamy Culver's concrete mixer. Start by scooping our so incredibly fresh vanilla or chocolate frozen custard. Then add whatever mix-ins you crave. Cookie dough, salted caramel, Butterfinger, hello. Blend till you get the perfect balance of goodies from top to bottom with every key spoonful. Indulge in a bit of beauty.
Come to Culver's and let us create a concrete mixer masterpiece just for you know who. Welcome to Delicious.
Save big money and get 11% off everything at Menards. Honeywell thermostats keep your home's temperature comfortable through every season while saving on your heating and cooling bill. Menards has a great selection of programmable and Wi-Fi units to control with your phone or tablet. Save 11% on all Honeywell thermostats. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through March 5th. Savings are mailing rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
30 seconds.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Why would you pay full price when you know that you can save money at RocketGrabPlus.com? Check out our deals going on right now from 120 Fitness, Uplift Creative Center, the Salt Room and Wellness Spa, Joyce's Purple Palette, Woody's Hot Dogs, Wonder Burger, King's Fish and More, and the Hamptons Boutique Tanning and Salon. Half off? Yeah.
Hey, we're back with more Straight Talk. I want to get right into these last couple of things. For those of you, Rob, you still wearing your mask. The CDC says that there is no more indoor mask mandate necessary. And they said that's even for the school. So where your mask at, Rob? I got mine right here. Are we ready to throw it into the air and walk away?
I'm always wearing it because I never know who I'm around. I know that you're vaccinated and certain people that I know are not vaccinated. But I try to keep my distance and what have you, you know. Hey.
These people crazy. I'm not ready to give up my mask.
I'm not giving up my mask.
No, and you know, I didn't took the time to get my mask where they can match my outfits and stuff. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This mask, we gonna be masking. My mask is staying on. I'm with you, Rebecca Garth. These people have been doing everything possible to stop us from wearing these masks. And I guess they just like, you know, let these people do what they want to do. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I think that we have to use some wisdom. Honestly, when has there ever been equal punishment with the courts? So, Tammy, we are all the way past that. We thank you for your comment, though. But when we talk about this mass situation, our community has been hit so differently. And you know, when this thing came down, 2 students in one of the school systems that came up positive. One of the kids was like, I'm not getting rid of my mask. So let's be wise out there, y'all. Let's wear a mask when we need to. Let's make this thing happen. I want to just give a shout out First Ward Radiothon. This is kind of like we're bringing this back March 12th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to see more information, the flyers. I know there's been a save the date out there, flyers coming, preserving the legacy of First Ward Community Center, 90 years of service. I remember doing talent shows, and I remember my church would reserve First Ward. We did a fashion show. And so we're going to come, and this is a day of community support where the community can support First Ward Community Center, give back to that particular iconic structure within our community that so many of us have been blessed. I found out that my mother, I knew she worked for General Motors, Rob. I found out while I was live on air, she shot me a text message saying, hey, I got my job at General Motors by applying for it at First Ward. And you've met my mom, Rob. And she's listening. So, so when we think about this, First Ward has blessed so many of us. And with anything that we have in the world, your own house, there are repairs and there's upkeep and things that need to take place. And as a matter of fact, yours truly was asked to fill out an application. And so I applied to be a board member on First Ward Community Center. And so I will be doing that. And so my focus with First Ward will really be corporate engagement and really bringing technology and STEM and engagement and all of those amazing programs that we do. Our program, the Dow Treasure Academy, has a partnership, and we're helping out with this radiothon. I'm excited to see what's taking place. We got folks out there working on a Taste of Soul, that there's a legacy reading room, so many things that are going on. And this will be your day to give back. We want you guys to come back, share your stories, those great stories of First Ward Community Center. And let's cherish this moment. Let's give our support. because whenever you have been the recipient from something great, you have to do your part and give back to help sustain those amazing things. So I want to get back. So let's bring in, at this time, I'm going to shift and I'm going to bring in my guy, Tim Holden. You are there, my guy. What's happening, Tim?
God bless
Bishop,
you. God
excuse
bless
me, let me get this right. Bishop Tim
Yes,
Holden.
yes.
He is with us on this evening, and he is here. We're going to talk a little bit about home ownership, which I think is a very important conversation. Bishop Holden, what's going on, my man?
God bless you. God bless you.
I think you have yourself muted.
No,
What's that?
I'm not muted. Can
I
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you now, my man.
Okay. Just a blessed, man, to be here, to be with you live here on the air, to talk about this home ownership. I'm very excited.
All right, so you have a program that's coming up. It's called Home Ownership Workshop. It's in Saginaw, Michigan. Bishop T.D. Holden, Anointed Temple Ministries. Now, there have been some people say, you got to get with Pastor Tim about what's going on. There's something happening on the 28th, the last day of this month.
Yes.
That you're going to be providing information. Let us know what's going on with this information. Y'all know how I do. If it's going to help somebody out there,
Yes.
I'm about that. And so tell us what's happening tomorrow on the 28th.
Yes, on the 28th, we have the Home Owners Workshop. And what that entails of, and we're doing it at CAC on Perkins. And it tells for people who first-time home buyers, people thinking about getting a home, want to know more about it. We have the banks and stuff going to be there, Huntington Bank. We also have a different mortgage broker going to be there. We also, Kareem Bowen, we're going to have credit repair going to be there, realtor going to be there. And so we're going to be working with the community of working and then to help them to bring that to pass. Now, me as a bishop, talking about home ownership and talking about possessing the land, what God has told the people of God, even one of my scriptures that I stand on is Joshua 1:3. He told them this book of the law, to depart out their mouth. In there also you bag up, because a lot of people like to quote that, but he said about the land. He said, wherever the soles of your feet should tread, you should have the land. And so I've been teaching at the temple and teaching on my broadcast and stuff about possessing the land, of really obtaining home ownership, owning your land. I'm a landlord myself. I believe in, I like renting, but it comes a point where you should want some land, property of your own.
Well, because the key thing is that they're not creating any more land.
No.
So the land that exists is what we got.
Yes. So we got to work with it.
So tomorrow, when people are coming in, what should they expect to encounter when they come into this home ownership workshop over at the Community Action Center, CAC?
To expect, some's coming to expect to even get pre-approved. Some coming to
Wait a minute, boss. So people can come tomorrow and expect to get pre-approval for home loans.
Yes, we got. I remember I told you I have the bank and mortgage brokers and stuff going to be on the site. So we're going to be trying to do some pre-approvals. Yes, sir. People who come in expecting, say they know their credit ain't, too good. Well, we're going to have that there so they can go talk to the credit repair. I have the person who did my credit repair. Most people who know my testimony know that I had served some time and stuff, so my credit got messed up during that time. So I got my credit straightened out. And so I got the person who straightened my credit out going to be there as well. And I've seen results. You got a lot of people talking about doing repairs and took advantage of people, but no, I have seen results on my own.
Okay, so individuals that are coming who need credit repair, what is the cost of this to individuals who are interested in coming in and learning about credit repair, how they can be helped that way, and then also finding more about home ownership?
The event is free.
Say that one more time.
The event is free. So now people are going to come and learn. Now, And so when you're dealing with different credit and stuff like that, that may range with the different individual that's doing the credit repair, because everybody's not the same. So they will come, they will talk with the individual and stuff, and they'll sit down and talk with them and let them know, which way for them to go. We have realtors, because you got some people who need to find a property. So we have that available as well. We got different
Okay,
Huh?
I want
Go
to
ahead.
share with all of the list of services that you guys are going to have tomorrow. This is tomorrow, February the 28th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The list of services include home ownership versus renting. I guess it's educational information.
Yes.
Prepare for home ownership, the closing process, credit repair services, awareness and motivation, returning citizen assistance, on the spot pre-approvals. You say that. For qualified individuals, this home workshop is geared towards providing affordable, safe housing opportunities throughout Saginaw, Michigan. Now, I want to read to you the individuals that you have as your partners, because a lot of times partners will they help to validate your cause and what it is that you're doing.
Yes.
So your list of partners are the city's mayor, Brenda Moore, State Rep Amos O'Neill, who has been all over the place, Julius Tate of WRMG and Co., Pastor Simpson, Tora Simpson of Daniels Den Ministries, and Minister Ernestine Rimmer of Women of Purpose and Power. And then we also have PIP builders on here. So I wanted people to know you have a strong group of individuals that are working with you tomorrow. What does success look like for tomorrow's event?
We are so excited about it. Also, we have Huntington Bank on there as well.
Yes.
We're very excited about this, and to bring this to the community and open up citywide. So we want to see more home ownership, and so when we not said that, I don't know how to do it. Well, we're making it free, making it available so you can come and learn if you don't know. You get to meet people who are professional, in these areas. I'm going to be up speaking and talking about it. We'll talk with them one-on-one. So I'm very excited about it because, like I said, it was a dream of mine. And teaching on it, I say not just a lot of people would say, us in the church, oh, you just talk a good game, or you preach that. But what are you doing about it to help in the community? So I'm one to, put my hands and get down in there and let's make it available, And so I'm excited about it because people will become more aware. We got a lot of young people, that's going to be coming out. And so they get to learn more about interest rates, renting versus, home ownership versus renting, the benefits of it and stuff like that. You may start out, but you may want to shift once you get to a place, to home ownership.
And I want to share this really quickly. When we were preparing for this, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, they said that there have been increases in minority home ownerships and extremely positive low interest rate, low unemployment economic environment. During the 1990s, the conventional mortgage industry began offering a wider range of affordable lending programs, which is a good thing because when we talk about barriers to home ownership, we're talking about a lack of capital for the down payment and closing costs. We're talking about a lack of access to credit and poor credit history, which is what Bishop Tim was talking about. Lack of understanding and information about home buying process, especially for families who speak English as their second language. Regulatory burdens imposed on the production of housing and continued housing discrimination. So we understand as people of this community that the road to affordable housing is stacked against us as a community. And so it's important for us to do everything that we can to remove those barriers and to create opportunities for education and awareness. People don't realize, Bishop Holden, that one of the biggest barriers that we have in our community is not just access to the process, but access to information.
Yes, I agree. And I thank God for you and your show and allowing us to be on to share with your audience and people around about this home ownership, because many people have fought to have equal rights and for us to be able to get the information, we get the help we need from banks and mortgage companies, and like I told you, even to get your credit cleaned up. You know, you made some bad choices and stuff like that, and God bless to give us another chance. And I went through it myself, and so I'm looking to this to benefit our people, to really help, you know, people at large.
You know, Bishop, I'm gonna ask you this question, because I think there's a lot of people that are listening to us, and you said that you went through this process, and you're gonna have the individual. I know who that person is. You're gonna have the individual present that helped you to clear up your credit.
Yes. Yes.
When a person is looking for somebody to help them with credit repair, because that is a big thing, you know.
Yes.
Because you know how we do in our neighborhood.
Yes.
Before
Yes.
we turned, 13, we didn't have refrigerators and ovens and TVs
Put in our name.
Parents didn't use their credit. You know how that
Yes,
happens.
consumers.
Everything, right? So what are some things that people need to look for, and what did you find was important when you were going through the process of credit repair?
First pulling that credit report and going down the list, you know, seeing what's on there, making sure it's accurate, because a lot of people got a lot of inaccurate information on their credit report, and you have a right to due diligence to challenge that, and a lot of people don't know it. And so I found out to get mine cleaned up, because your credit is so important, Pastor Kareem Bowen, that a lot of people don't know. It plays a part even with the payment, your rate. If you got a good credit score, your rate gonna be lower, your payment gonna be lower. So if we can check your credit and get that in order and stuff, and get you a good rate, my God, a lot of people paying, and this is where a lot of people not seeing, but that's what we're going to be bringing in this workshop. A lot of people paying rent, but they can get a house and wind up being cheaper, much cheaper than they was paying rent. And so we want to increase the tax base also in our community.
Absolutely. And the way that you increase that is through home ownership.
Home ownership, yes, sir.
And so I need y'all to understand. He just said something that's so powerful. There are two ways. There are a few ways that you can increase your tax base in your community, and what that means is when you have a strong tax base, something that the township has that the city of Saginaw does not have is a strong tax base. When it comes to what residents are paying, you know, we talk about millages and the incremental property taxes, all of those things, those are so very important to a tax base. Each homeowner has the ability to pay toward the betterment of their community a particular percentage of, you know, their home ownership each year. Okay.
Yes.
When you go through the east side of Saginaw and you look in our communities, you know, people are buying lots. It's great. You're cutting the grass, but you're not adding to the value of that tax base as it relates to having a resident in that community. I would much rather be in a community where there are homes and people owning those homes in each of those lots, instead of just having somebody who's going to take care of a corner and plant some flowers there because they want the community to look good. Now, we appreciate that, but when you add homeowners to that property, now you can get, you know, more street lights. Now you can get better roads. Now you can get, you know, better security. All of those things are so very important. And I want to share with you how the system is kind of rigged against us, and how we fail and we fall into the same positioning, because we will, you know, the great white flight is what they call it. We move from one side of the town and we chase everybody else living, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. And then when we do that, we leave holes in our community where there's no one to replace them in terms of home ownership. And so when that happens, the value of that property goes down, and people are like, hey, it's cheap to buy a house, but guess what? So is the value of the existing homeowners. It's going down. So to
Yes.
build value, we get residents. And one thing that I really want to see over the next 10 years, Bishop Holden, and I hope that your program talks about reinvesting and moving back into the city of Saginaw for a
Yes.
number of reasons, but to build that taxable base in our community so that we can begin to have see a significant change, retain some population numbers in the city of Saginaw, which is vitally
Yes.
important, and then also understand the importance of the voting blocks and how this redistricting stuff takes place. When we move out, they start shifting numbers and getting things taken care of, that you think that this is a black city, and you'll find out that you don't have any power whatsoever in the
No.
community anymore.
No, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm a city resident. I was born and raised. I also lived on the west side before. And I like to see, like I was sharing with our mayor and our state rep, I like to see areas being developed back into our city, areas that I grew up on. I was raised on Fifth and Burke. So these areas that I'm seeing back, that you go through there and ride, you just see land, like you were saying, land, and you may see people bought some areas and cut little grass and put some little flowers. But like I told them, I want to see some houses back in the area. I want to see some schools open back in them areas. Because if we get them back into, you build nice homes and stuff, you get people back in homes. I'm going to show you instance. I had some tenants, I won't call no name, and I've seen over the years that they did not take care of my property well. They'll run through there. I done put new carpet through there. They'll run through it, let their children do all kind of stuff. But when I see home ownership, them same people that wind up getting their home, which they let them walk through my house and carpet and mud and stuff on their shoe, it changed when they had ownership. When they come their own home, they say, take your shoe off at the door. It was a different level of a sense of pride, you see. It was a different way how they took care. When I believe we increased home ownership back into the city of Saginaw, and a lot of the residents, and it's affordable, it's nice homes. I feel, and we will see that a lot of people will be different in them neighborhoods. They'll be telling, don't come in with all that gang banging and shooting and all that, because you tearing up my house, you tearing up my property. They're going to be quick to call the police and tell. You see what I'm saying? Because now it's affecting them. And so I like to see our city come back. We bring a sense of pride back in the neighborhoods. We get people want to move back in there. We get the neighborhoods back restored. I'm working on it, and I'm hollering for to build. Like you said, we don't create no more land, but we got land already there. We just got to build on it. We got to build communities, and so I'm pushing that wholeheartedly.
I think it's absolutely amazing to see these types of efforts, and I'm encouraged by a number of conversations that I've been having with people in the community about the community and their desire to see things change. And I just want to say, when we talk, we've had conversations talking about how reparations, and it may seem like I'm not taking a left turn here, but I'm going to bring this conversation. We've been talking about how in our community, the need for reparations. And we understand that for many people, their home when they pass away becomes the place where most of their wealth is, right? And so one of the ways in which I believe the Black community and ADOS, African descendants of slaves, could really begin to say, hey, this is why reparations are possible, is for that first barrier that I talked to you about, which was the lack of capital for down payment and closing costs. If we could begin to find monies available to single families or single home families or single parents, and there's a pool of money that would help toward those down payments. And there are programs out there that will help with down payment assistance. And I'm glad that you're working with Hurley the third. Coleman the third over there at CAC, the new executive director, because some of the things that they offer in terms of their programming are home ownership information. How do we get some of those grants where we can get assistance with our down payment? And I think that has to be a part of the conversation, that when we're asking for dollars, it's not always about dollars in our pocket, but we want access to information. We want access to institutions. And we also want access to down payment for not only home ownership, but down payment for starting businesses and creating the opportunity and the platform for generational wealth. And I believe that's exactly what you guys are talking about doing. And I'm excited to see this take place on tomorrow, the 28th. Give us the details once again.
On tomorrow, the 28th, we'll be right there at CAC, right there on Perkins, between 4 to 6. We're going to even have some giveaways, just full of surprises. Really, so we can help the people. Even like I told you, it's a lot of training. Even like you were saying, the wealth that was passed down. Big Mama left her house, but they got to know how to maintain it. Make sure taxes. We're not looking for Big Mama that left you a house and you didn't know how to maintain it. You didn't pay the taxes because you didn't think, well, I need to keep up on the tax. This is stuff we need to share amongst our community so they don't lose the house and it goes. So it's a lot of parts that are going to be shared on there to bring encouragement. Even for, like I say, even for them that stuff was passed down through inheritance, how to keep that up and maintain it or sell it. Just don't let it go, So I'm very excited. I'm very excited about that. We definitely looking forward on tomorrow that people can get help, people can get encouraged, people can get motivated. Some, it's a dream, and we want that dream to come a reality of home ownership in our city. We want to build that base up.
I think what's important to understand, a lot of people just think, oh, well, you give somebody this and they move in and they're going to tear this up. And somebody said that to me, they're going to tear it up. Mm-hmm. But you said something that was really important, that when you own something, you treat it differently than when it doesn't belong to you. Think about when you go to a hotel. Now, this is a perfect example. When you go to a hotel and you own you're renting space in that hotel for whatever period of time that you're there. Mm-hmm. You take a shower, you clean up, that they got somebody coming to clean up. So you drop your towels. I try to keep things together, but folks, I've seen how they treat those places because it's not theirs.
It's not theirs.
And so they know somebody else is going to be responsible for taking care of it. So what we come to understand is that poverty is not a place or a destination on the roadmap of life, but it is actually a mentality that has to be taught differently.
Yes.
And, just as we talk about the power of suggestion and you being a man of faith as I am, we continually say that, whatever you can believe you can achieve because the mind and the confession of your mouth has the ability to bring in whatever you focus on. And I said this today, whatever you focus on in your life flourishes. Yes. And people, when we begin to be coached and trained into the things that are most important, and we begin to share with them, give them access to the importance of home ownership, they then begin to see things differently. And so it's important for us to be able to take the steps that you're taking on tomorrow. Once again, I want you to share that information. How can they get involved and connected with what's taking place tomorrow at CAC?
All they got to do is show up. We're looking for Tim to show up, come expecting. Just if God can bless me, Kareem Bowen, that be a returned citizen, to come out to be a home ownership and then also be a landlord to run my own business in that area as well. Surely God won't do the same for them. He's no respecter of person. I told him God is not a respecter of person. He's just a respecter of faith. All you just need is faith and to believe. And that's why I want them to come tomorrow. You that have faith, show up tomorrow at CAC. You believing for a home. You come in there and see me. Glory to God. And we're going to make sure you get the tools, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding you need to obtain that. Glory be to God.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Bishop Tim Holden, for your time and your attention and for the work that you're doing in the community. At the end of the day, what we do for someone else who is less than us or less deserving or less fortunate becomes the paramount thing in how we have to live. And we should appreciate and value our lives. I want to thank those of you who are tuning in to Straight Talk via social media. Like, tag, and share this conversation. Those of you listening to the radio raves, thank you for your continued listenership. And we pray that you guys are safe. Have an amazing evening. because we are now come to the end of an hour. An hour
Wow.
goes by so fast, my brother. And we just want to thank you all for your continued listenership as we endeavor to bring you quality information that will impact the village. It's all about the village. Thank you for today. You guys take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you all. Grace and peace.